We shall. Bang the gun. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to March 20th, 2024, if you can believe it. And it is 6:43. We had some technical difficulties and we continue to have a few technical difficulties. So anyone who's online, if you get kicked from the meeting, try and get back in. If you're unsuccessful, we will have it recorded from Interior and it'll be posted and you might just have to end up watching it after. It is a relatively short agenda. I don't foresee it being a long one. So if you do have to watch it, maybe get ready, go to bed, and you'll be done in 15 minutes. Ha, I highly doubt it. We end up being here till 8. Okay. The town of Diamond Valley acknowledges the traditional territories of people of Treaty 7, region of southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, members Siksika, Kainai First Nations, the Stoney Nakoda, Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Wesley First Nations, the Dene of Tsuut'ina First Nations, the Métis Region 3, and all those that call Treaty 7 lands their home. Can I get an adoption 2.1, Deputy Mayor, an addendum?
Get that as amended.
Okay. Good. What is the addition?
Of the delegation.
Simple. Well, we knew Doug was coming. Excellent. All in favor? All right, and that is carried. Minutes for March 6, 2024. Hazel wins that one. Any questions, concerns? Verna?
Yes, I actually do need an amendment. Sorry, I'll just pop them up on screen here.
Oh, you have a new amendment?
To the minutes.
Okay, for March 6. Okay, sure, yeah.
I'll make that a little bigger for you. The planning manager, Carrie Florzone, asked for a slight edit to the amending motion for the bylaw 2024-43 motions that were made, just to tweak it a little bit from the draft minutes. And so the changes there are what she requested be placed instead. So I redlined it so you can see it.
43.
This is the R1N bylaw.
It's just tied in. Anything else other than that red line?
Just those two little sections there.
Yeah. No, then that's fine.
The missing names. For the,
Missing names.
yeah, the names of the counselors. On bylaw 2024-53 and 2024-54, who gave the first reading?
Not there?
No, those names aren't there.
Did anyone jot those down?
I'll have it on my desk. I can
Okay,
just
all right.
correct those for you.
What's this?
That's or side. Main entrance must be located on the front elevation / facade and visibly down there. So it could be.
That's that.
What's that
correction
mean then?
is here.
Oh, yeah, there you
The
go.
first part is what was already in the land use bylaw,
Oh,
and I
okay.
typed it twice.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, okay, excellent, good. Okay, so as amended for the minutes, March 6th, I got it from Hazel. All in favor? Thank you. Cindy, March 13th. Committee of the whole.
Yeah, there was one, Hazel sent an email already, one motion that we didn't do. We didn't carry it forward. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The one from the
Yeah.
previous community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delegation, which is not me. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it was supposed to go on the count on March 13th. We've got it all figured out.
Okay, good. So motion to adopt.
Yeah. But did the names get added, like, when Hazel on the ones, the 6,
The names didn't show up.
2024-53, the first reading?
Yeah.
Ones, yeah.
Yeah, the names were
First
missing.
reading or those.
If she has them.
I just don't have them here, so I can't tell you what they are, but
Okay, but you caught it. Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, yeah. Sorry, I'm still on that one, but now we'll move on to. the
Okay.
table. And I will give you that.
literature.
Okay, any questions, concerns for the committee of the whole 3.2? Seeing none, all in favor? Thank you. Recommendations for March 13th committee of the whole coming forward. Who's on those as well? Please read that one out for me. If you've got it on the screen, Verna, that would be super helpful. All right.
There's several motions.
Okay, I'll give you the first one. I got it. Oh, you've.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, get her on the floor.
The council direct administration to amend the master fee schedule for council's consideration by the June 19th, 2024 regular council meeting. Thank you.
Excellent. Any discussion on that one? Good. All right, all in favor? And that's just some housekeeping, gonna get some more modern date numbers on it. Next one. Cindy,
Council directed administration to present the strategic priorities report to council at the April 17th.
excellent. And that's gonna be some good quarterly housekeeping that we can communicate to the public. So I look forward to that. Any other comments on that one? Straightforward, I think. All in favor? Thank you. That is carried. Next up, Councilor Gordon.
That council direct administration to place a discussion regarding the future of the municipal planning commission on the April 3rd, 2024 regular council meeting agenda.
Thank you. Any discussion on that one? I do have a question for those NPC members. The last one was closed or canceled due to nothing on the agenda. Great importance, and that would have been an opportunity to have a bit of sidebar on bringing that forward so that those members are aware discussion is going to be had. Is there going to be an opportunity for you guys to have a conversation with those members prior to it hitting a council meeting agenda and then it appearing as, oh, where did this come from? Any chance that's going to happen?
No.
So could we bump that to May?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead, Brendan.
What exactly do you want us to talk about?
Well, I don't want them to feel that this conversation is coming from a council push without them being engaged in their thoughts.
We're planning on engage.
I think they would, but
At the,
being the last council, last NPC being canceled, sorry, the opportunity was missed.
Okay,
I
sorry.
think we should add it to the 17th agenda because we have the BC on the 16th.
There you
So
go.
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, that way.
That's what I meant it for April 17th.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I don't want anyone getting blindsided
As well as add it.
to the NPC
Yeah.
All those public hearings happening,
April
April
3rd.
3rd, so we don't need
okay.
a large debate on that night.
Yeah.
Topic as well. So that'd be, yeah, and that gives some time for it to be introduced as well. Okay, good. So let's change the date to the April 17th, correct? Yeah. All right. As amended by the motioner, all in favor? Thank you. That is carried. And number 4.
Help me.
All right, Brad.
Oh. The council directed administration to regularly communicate some of the quick wins that happen following amalgamation, and further to provide a post amalgamation and snapshot report connecting to strategic priorities and the municipal government act responsibilities by the summer of 2024. Thank you.
And just to speak to that one just quickly, because we did touch base on this from a West End perspective today. As you know, we've signed the updated contract, so West End is now full go. So within a year's time, we suspect that that project will be completed for $20 million. So we wanted to start communicating that very clearly to the residents. Some of the emails we got regarding the closure of the lands in dog park, for example, that's not just a willy-nilly closed dog park. We're protecting the swallows as per Alberta Environment's request and, you know, mandated, to do that. So we're not communicating that clearly with signage. So as mundane as it sounds, we have to actually detail why the closure is there, not just that there's construction. There's reasons behind it. So that's gonna fall into the communications plan that we're gonna start now. And we want to carry this communication plan right to the end of term so that everyone who is in our town feels connected, informed, and transparency is to be had. So this is the start, and I look forward to seeing that. And please reach out to council for any clarifications that you want. And that's great. So, all in favor? Excellent, thank you. All right. We have question periods. Question period is a 15-minute section of council in which we have opened for the public to ask questions of council or administration for points of clarity or general inquiry. You can email, text, phone, call, knock on the door, right, and fill out a form, hand it to administration, and it will come to us. Have we received any questions from the public for this meeting?
We have none, your worship.
Very well. In that case, seeing none, we will move on in the agenda. And to statutory hearings, which we have none. And then delegation 6.1, we have Doug Eaglecamp. You can sit right up here in the front, and we are going to talk about the Royal Canadian Air Force. Although I must say, I do miss the Royal Canadian Air Force. I thought that was a very good CBC program, and nothing really has, other than Rick Mercer did a pretty good job. Those guys were good. So I'll hand it over to you, Doug. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Mayor and Council, and all thanks for allowing me a bit of time to present this this whole concept about the Royal Canadian Air Force 100th anniversary, various means of celebration. And one of the things that they have initiated is they refer to it as illumination blue light. And what it is asking communities across Canada and around the world actually to on April the 1st, which is the official anniversary date of the formation of the RCAF, to illuminate town halls, that sort of thing in blue light, videotape, video it for a minimum of 10 minutes. Probably, I suspect, I'm quite sure that they would want a date stamp on it as well, and then submit that to the person who is managing all of this, and that video will then be submitted to the Guinness Book of Records, and so get a little exposure from that. And this page actually I just saw this today too as well. It just popped up. I kind of got involved doing this because a friend in Ontario is initiating that, he's spearheading a lot of it there, and asked me if I would get involved with it out here. So I said I would just go to some of the local communities and primarily going to the Legions and that to get some traction, see if we can make this work. So I know somewhere on this website there's a it lists the locations that are, oh yeah, so if you look on Canada, there's quite a number of places. Some of them have already registered here, like High River, where they're going to do that. I see Okotoks is now, they have theirs listed up there as well. I know the town of Nanton, I've been speaking with them, and probably what we're going to be doing there as well is the Bomber Command Museum of Canada. We'll be lighting up the something on the wall there as well. So basically, it's just asking communities and businesses, that sort of thing, to have something for the 1st of April, the anniversary date. Light up something with blue light, and I think I guess the only suggestion I could make for you is, something that would have Diamond Valley on, of some sort. I don't know how you would manage to do that. I'm sure that you guys would be able to figure that out better than I can.
Yeah, go ahead. I knew what it
We've,
was.
you're local, Doug?
Kaylee.
Okay, so, Kaylee, so you're gonna leave going back this way. You're gonna drive right by the town office.
Yeah.
I believe. We've got a great big black diamond there, sitting outside the office.
Yeah.
We could probably make something happen where the diamond and the office are lit up in blue. I'm in full support. I know that our new CAO would be in full support as well, given his history, with the Canadian Forces. So, yeah, fantastic idea. I really appreciate you taking the time to come in. This is a great, a very, cost efficient way to recognize our Royal Canadian Forces. So appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, again, I probably can't offer any other support. This is kind of a on your own sort of initiative, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
It's a 10-minute video, you said, correct?
That's what they required. There's some information on this
Yeah.
website. I see it popped
Yeah,
up.
I'm looking at it right now. It's pretty awesome.
And I did verify that earlier today that they want a minimum 10-minute video. I thought originally they were even just looking for a photo, but Guinness Book of Records apparently wants a video.
Cool. I'm gonna throw something out there just as a off the wall suggestion. But during World War II, our Turner Valley gas plant provided the fuel for our CAF. And I think that would be really cool somehow to incorporate that in the video as well. Excellent blue light there and do that together. On the balls, exactly. So that would be kind of cool. Horton Spears, yeah.
Okay, so we got the lights, just 2 spots. There you go.
2 spots, video, in,
I
right?
think the more the merrier.
Get in there.
Yeah, no, like I say, I think just if whoever's gonna be doing the video, just try to ensure that there's some kind of a date on it to verify. I'm sure, I think that was one of the requirements to, just to prove that it was on that date.
Yeah, I think we'll go through here, get the criteria. Pick our locations, which I think we just had 2 perfect suggestions.
Yeah.
I'm speaking for myself, but everybody's in support.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So I think,
yeah, this is a great way to honor our forces,
Yeah.
for sure.
so I think the first, my understanding is the first step is to register your intent. Unfortunately for the one guy that's been tagged with this, with the Canadian Armed Forces, it's Captain Eric Niles. I think you have that information, yeah. Considering they don't have people who are, in a specifically in a position to do this sort of thing, and they're stretched so thin as it is, I think he's gonna be a pretty hectic guy. But I think that's the process, is to register with him. And then once the video is done, it gets submitted to him as well. I think all the information is there, and I don't know if there's anything else I can offer as far as information. Looking through this, you know as much about it as I do, so.
Well, putting it on the radar is what's important here, so
Yeah.
John,
Yeah.
for us, Doug, yeah.
Now, when's gonna be the 100th anniversary of radar?
Have radar? Probably not too far off.
Shortly, if you.
Maybe older than I am.
There you go. Thank you very much for coming in. Fully support this. This is fantastic, and thank you for taking the time to bring it to our attention.
Well, and thank you very much for your support. I guess I can speak for on behalf of the RCF. Thank you very much for your support, and we really appreciate it.
You betcha. Thank you. Feel free to sit around and watch the rest of the meeting, or you can sneak away as fast as you can.
I'll sneak away.
Thanks, thanks. When was radar? 22. Oh,
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
Wow, we did.
So we need to make motions.
Yeah, we'll take a motion for that.
Sure.
So that's gonna be. motion.
Yeah,
please.
Okay. Something to the effect of, we direct administration to, register with the RCAF. Thank you. I want to make sure I got it right. I was gonna say, anyways, and following that, couple blue lights.
3 blue lights. House of blue lights.
We're gonna need one for Old Black Diamond and then I don't know what the concept, sorry.
Yeah.
Well, it's really just two lights, right? One light there and one light.
Just go like this. To register and prepare for the Royal Canadian Air Force Centennial Celebration.
Let them in.
As amended, friendly
Right?
amendment.
Just like that.
Yes,
And then
perfect.
they can figure it out.
Because they might have to do one location, not the others.
Yeah, that's what, okay. Okay.
Or find a different location.
Yes.
Capture that.
Register.
Thanks Barry.
Excellent. Yeah, right. I know, horrible day. Cause I got all kinds of plans.
Not over.
It's super.
11 days.
Yeah. All in favor? Thank you. All right. 7.1 bylaw 2024-58 bylaw enforcement officer bylaw. Lots of bylaw in there. Do we want to go hot seat or do we want to go from there and just up here? Excellent.
That's what it's
Hey, Commissioner Bell, just turn over to Minek and.
That's right. Starting to go there for, I'll get there.
Thank you, Sue. Appreciate the opportunity this evening to introduce 2 bylaws that we want to bring forward that are related to municipal enforcement. I want to acknowledge the lead, Sergeant Matt Hogan, Supervisor of Municipal Enforcement, who compiled the information and will be presenting to you this evening. And I also want to acknowledge and thank Verna Staples, Legislative Services Manager, who reviewed and certainly her input was invaluable. So we present that for readings this evening and I pass it over to Sergeant Hogan.
Back to the hot seat, eh?
There you go.
Won't be that hot tonight.
No,
It's good. I like that. Long day. All right, yeah.
Good evening, council.
Sir.
In front of you, I present to you bylaw 2024-58, a bylaw enforcement officer bylaw. I'm sure council had an opportunity to review the bylaw. I'll just cover the high note here. So we have hired a bylaw enforcement officer in a term position. We do have officer on leave. We do need to fill the gap so we can move forward. It's going to be a busy summer. So we have Miss Amanda Redlick starting with us on April 8th. Joining our team, she brings a wealth of experience from the city of Calgary, 14 years working for them under bylaw enforcement and as a bylaw enforcement supervisor. Under the MGA section 556, we are required to pass a bylaw that specifies the powers and duties of a bylaw enforcement officer, disciplinary procedures, misuse of power, penalties, all that fun stuff in order to have one. We are a bit different, myself and Simon, we're community peace officers. We're appointed under provincial legislation, so we're not defined as bylaw enforcement officers, so that's why we don't have this bylaw currently in place. Any questions I'll take from council?
Perfect, thank you, Councillor Gordon, and then Councillor Martin.
No, I really appreciate the work you've done on this. Looking forward to having, as you said, Miss Amanda Redlick with us. So that'll be exciting. Just one minor note, 7.4. Looks to be missing the word repeals.
That's the next bylaw you want to.
Yeah, 7.4, this bylaw repeals the following bylaws in their entirety. I think that's all. That's really the minor piece I had.
Thank you, sir. If we could make that friendly amendment.
It's a very good catch.
Great cleanup too, get rid of all the.
Right?
Oh, I looked and I'm going, wow,
I know, I was like, only 8?
87, 97.
Wow. Yeah.
It's definitely going down through a lot of old bylaws, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so, adding the word repeal, the 7.4 as amended, we have that one. Anything else, council? I'll let Jonathan finish and then
Yeah.
it's all come to you.
Yeah, one other piece that, just for clarity's sake, when we say a term hire, do we know exactly how long that term may be?
For sure. So we have Amanda under a 6-month term position. Of course, with any term, depending on our officer that is on leave, that may be extended.
Thank you.
Councilor Martin.
Thanks, Matt, for the work that you've done on this bylaw. My only question is, what are the primary differences in duties between a bylaw enforcement officer and a community peace officer, such as yourself?
For sure, through the chair, if I may. So we are appointed as provincial peace officers under the Provincial Peace Officer Act. So we are responsible for enforcing a variety of provincial legislation. So the Traffic Safety Act, Gaming Liquor Act, tobacco, smoking, vaping, you name it, we probably have it on our appointments. Community peace officers have a focus on enforcing municipal bylaws as well. So we do a lot of moving traffic, we enforce our bylaws. When you look on the flip side of a bylaw enforcement officer, their mandate, they're not provincially appointed. They don't have arrest powers. They cannot drive with red and blue lights on. Their mandate is to enforce municipal legislation only. So when Ms. Redlick starts, that would be her mandate, proactive education before enforcement approach throughout the community to gain some compliance. As peace officers, Simon and myself, we would be stepping in to support her and also ensuring traffic safety within the community. So it's the best of both worlds. We have somebody focusing on the bylaw stuff 100%, while we have the two other officers that are juggling both hats and can deal with some complaints from the citizens regarding traffic without having to break off and deal with a bylaw complaint. So.
And lastly, how many hours? How many hours a week?
So it's a 40-hour a week position.
Oh, okay,
It's a full-time position.
a full-time. Okay, thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, I'm really happy about this. I'm happy for you guys, obviously, to have the relief. But moving forward, especially when, expecting potentially our other officer to come back at some point, I think that we as council should be open-minded to maybe keeping someone like this on. I imagine they probably cost a little bit less than our officers currently. So instead of hiring a potential full-time peace officer, maybe we keep an open mind and, if there's the matter's resolved and we get our officer back before we end this contract, maybe we have a conversation with you about this and what it would cost, because I really like this focus, especially as we have residents talking about deer and a number, dogs, and just a number of small municipal things. I think that this might be a good in between. So just a comment, but I'm as well wanted to say that I'm happy for you guys too. So
If I could respond to the chair. It's being used in other municipalities as well. Okotoks, same model, community peace officers and bylaw enforcement officers. There are definitely disadvantages to having just a bylaw enforcement officer. When it comes to towing vehicles, finding out drivers' information. However, there's so many positives with it as well. You're correct, huge cost savings. As a community peace officer, we're very expensive to train. Going to academy for 16 weeks just to start, to get your stripes, and then it continues from there. Annual certifications, expensive vehicles and equipment. We bring a lot to the table, but bylaw enforcement officers as well work very well. So.
Okay, any further questions?
Yeah, one real quick.
Yes, please.
And related to Deputy Mayor, past decisions, we used to have an animal control officer specific. Does Amanda bring that to the table as well as a bylaw officer, or is that our CPO is still handling that?
If I may, through the chair. So Amanda will deal with absolutely everything, any bylaw we have on the books. She's empowered to enforce. We're looking forward to that. Will assist as well. So as a bylaw enforcement officer and a community peace officer, we all enforce the responsible pet ownership bylaw. So it's an all hands on deck approach.
You give us that?
That council did bylaw 2024-58, the bylaw enforcement officer bylaw with an amendment first reading of 7.4. Thank you very much.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions for clarity, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? That one is carried.
That council give bylaw 2024-58 second reading.
Excellent. Any questions, concerns, clarity required? No, all in favor? It's carried. Heather?
Council agree to give bylaw 2024-58 third reading at this meeting.
Thank you. Questions, concerns? Clarity? None, all in favor? That is carried unanimously for the record. And Deputy Mayor.
Give you the last one. The council give bylaw 2024-58, the bylaw enforcement officer bylaw, third and final reading. And just one more last comment. I did want to thank administration, Monique, our officers. You guys got this done really quickly. I know that you've been short staffed and it has been a lot to get this wrapped up right before we hit spring. Pat on the back, just wanted to make sure that gave you a nod.
Yeah, awesome, well said. All in favor? And that is carried. Bylaw 2024-49, public places bylaw. I think we're just gonna roll right in there, Mr. Davy.
That's good, your worship.
Perfect, thank you. Council, in front of you, bylaw 2024-49, our public places bylaw. As you have read in your council package and the briefing note here, this bylaw is a bunch of bylaws squished into one. A lot of the old Turner Valley, a lot of the old Black Diamond, and a lot of the latest legislation that we should be having in place. Not to go through the entire thing, some of the big items that stand out. There was a concern that council noted, I believe, last year, distribution of flyers containing graphic images. There was some stuff going on in Okotoks and High River, and it was asked that when we do create updated legislation to have that in there. And I present that this evening. I will take any questions council has.
Thank you. Councilor Gordon, you can lead us up.
Yeah, actually, it was gonna be in relation to that. So those, the manner in which the envelopes have to be opaque and whatnot, that comes from the Canadian Code of Advertising Standards, correct?
If I may.
And and then follow up, if so, how does that? Like, I guess, because that's kind of got a federal legislation already, so how does our bylaw make certain that we're not overriding the one and making certain we're supporting the other, so to speak?
Just 1 second here. Thank you, if I may, through the chair. So we followed the lead of the city of Calgary. They have tested this bylaw through many courts already. That's where we came up with the having to have the graphic images in an envelope labeled. And we also followed, I believe it was Okotoks, where it came to the Canadian standards. To my understanding, it is not a federal requirement. It's just an association with advertising standards. So it's working for Okotoks as well. So that's where we took that approach. If that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. I just want to make sure we have the, because I know up in BC, several times a similar bylaw like this, I can't remember the community. They've had issues with this, and it seems to be batted back and forth between different courts of appeal, because what has the authority, what doesn't have the authority, how do you apply one when other, there might be an overarching one from a federal level. So that's why I report that question, just to make sure we're able to actually enforce what we've legislated.
For sure, if I may, through the chair, we've done extensive research just to make sure we had all of our boxes checked. The Canadian Code of Advertising Standards, the ad standards, when we reviewed their information, they're giving a lot of best practices themselves to regulate this activity. So myself and the Legislative Services Manager are very confident that we will not have any issues when it comes to enforcement. We're also, again, hoping we're not going to have to go down any enforcement route. So education first priority. So we, in my experience, almost going on 3 years here, I believe, we haven't had anything like this yet. But if it does, I'm comfortable with the legislation as it stands.
Thank you. Councilor Kleiber.
A couple questions. In the definitions, I had to look really hard to find fetus. Like, I found it in the definition, but it was not in the body of the bylaw. I finally found it through a search under graffiti. I'm just not used to seeing a definition hidden within a definition. is that graphic image. Sorry, under graffiti, graphic image, my mistake. It has a G in it.
Just 1 second here, please. Lots of words.
Pardon me?
J and N in definition, right?
Correct, it's just, it's atypical to have a definition within
Yeah, that would
another definition.
If I may, through the chair, with this bylaw and its building, graphic image, the definition, shows a fetus. We wanted to define a fetus, so we followed, City of Calgary. So City of Calgary right now is the leader in Alberta for a strong bylaw. We followed how they laid out their bylaw step by step. That's how they did it. They defined a fetus as independently in their bylaw, so we chose to take that step.
Wait, no, this is really a style issue, so
For
I'm
sure.
learning a new thing, which just means I could be more irritating next time.
Yeah, fetus is defined under J, right?
Correct, but
But it's not used in.
typically from the bylaws I've been reading, you don't have a definition within a definition. It's part of it. You define part of the body.
Yeah. Just jump into your worship, sir. Again, when we try to follow best practice from other cities, it saves us money, so I don't have to take it to a lawyer every single time. So just bear that in mind, right? If you want the 100% legal review, then it'll slow down.
Just file this away for future. And then just to be really persnickety, because this is a beautiful, brand new, shiny bylaw. Under your Schedule A, 11.1G. And open space instead of open space. And then I really apologize for this, 12.1. And this really, you could say no to this one. Smoke or vape in prohibited area. I would say smoke or vape in a prohibited area, but you can argue that.
Yes, amended.
If I may, to the chair, we'd be looking for those changes on the floor, please.
We will.
I told him it wasn't gonna be a hot seat. Before he sat down, he said, it's not gonna be a hot seat.
I think we need to look into our Grammarly.
Good catches, Brian.
That's, yeah, you gotta get the Newfie version. It's totally up to date. All right, so we're gonna take that, Veronica, when time comes with 11.1G amended and 12.1 amended. Okay, Councillor Thompson.
Thanks, Matt. Really well done. I just hope that, we've got quite a bit in here that is a little hard to. Well, it's really good that we've got a municipal bylaw enforcement officer that's actually going to be able to enforce some of this, because some of it's a pretty tough to enforce. What I really like about this bylaw is that referring to the Cannabis Act and the Smoking Act instead of having it all written out in the bylaw. So I really appreciate that, because I always thought that was just so redundant, because we have to follow those regulations in the first place. So I really appreciate cleaning up that. And I also really appreciate that it's just getting rid of, again, so many other bylaws that are old and need to go bye-bye. But yeah, thank you so much. It really is great. And you refer to the actual regulations that regulate it. On the picture side.
Thank you. Clean and tidy.
Clean and tidy. Small renovation.
So, Veronica, let's take yours with the amendment to begin the show.
That council give bylaw 2024-49, public places bylaw, first reading as amended.
Those amendments for Verna are 11.1G. Person shall plant vegetation in an open space. And 12.1, smoke or vape in a prohibited area. Okay. Council? Questions, concerns, points of clarity? Seeing none, yeah, gotta say, let's show that great work with this vote. All in favor? Very nice. Good. I'll take second. Cindy wins that race. Second reading of bylaw 2024-29. 49, thank you, as amended. No. All in favor? Thank you. And Jonathan?
That council agreed to present bylaw 2024-49 for third reading at this meeting.
Thank you, sir. And points of clarity, questions, concerns, now's the time. All in favor? And that is carried unanimously. That be noted. And the last one, Hazel.
That council give bylaw 2024-49 third and final.
Thank you. Last time, last call for, no, all right. All in favor? That is done. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, council. Next bylaw coming to the table, not tonight, don't worry. Traffic bylaw, so we're gonna have some fun.
You're gonna up some fines, up some antes, right?
It'll be a surprise.
There you go.
Love it. Love it. Thank you, council. Have a good night. Thank you both.
We only ask before the motorcycles start to roll. There you go.
They're already out
I
there.
know, they began, but this week we'll put them down. Yeah. All right, moving on. These should be nice little one and dones. So, community support grant, Oilfields Pancake Breakfast Discovery Day. Mr. Davey.
Thanks, your worship. I'll turn it over to Monique if she has any.
It's a pleasure to present you two applications this evening from Oilfields High School. As you know, they have a number of programs that are ongoing, and this one in particular is a huge contribution to the Diamond Valley Discovery Day parade and event. And they host a pancake breakfast through volunteers and their students as part of the food program. They do all of the planning and coordination, as well as purchasing all of the goods. They do the cooking, do the prep, and do the serving, and it is done by volunteers. There is one slight error that was corrected yesterday, which was too late for agenda deadline. But I did meet with the group, and they meant to say that there's something that this is a budget item, that it's an honorarium for teaching staff, and in fact, it's meant to be volunteer recognition, and most of those dollars they'd like to transfer to the goods now that they've had a chance to take a look a little bit deeper at their budget. They feel that they need more of that towards their supplies and that nobody's getting paid. They're all volunteering, but they would like to recognize some of the parents, and not the teachers, but some of the parents that really have, will be stepping forward and doing a lot of the work as well. So with that bit of background, I certainly do support that this is, I would think, a very important part of the event itself, and hope that you will support it.
Thank you. I will take a motion. Go ahead, Councilor Thompson.
Yeah, I'm struggling with some of these school ones. This one for years and years and years and years was graduating class that hosted this pancake breakfast to support their grad and decorations and all that kind of stuff. And you know, we seem to be getting a lot of school grant requests. So that's just my comment on this one. I don't want to see it go away, but I also know that for many, many years, we've never been asked for money for this because it's been their fundraising event for their graduation. So that's just my comment. Grade 11s. Yeah.
I would prefer to see all of these type of things discussed by council. We could make a really clear matrix and leave the decision with administration. I'm not sure the council table is the best place for these decisions to be made, seeing as administration has already spoken to these groups. I think we should leave it in their hands. Administration disagrees.
Councilor Gordon.
You know, it's kind of a combination of those two. Because when I look at this, and it's part of Discovery Day now, and it has been for how many years? It would be my perspective on this would be, why isn't this part of our event management budget already.
Mm.
It's the event going on. If they want to tie into what we're doing, and we feel that this is a benefit to the community in the same way our Discovery Parade Day is, why wouldn't we have it as part of that event budget already? Maybe we can consider that moving forward. That would take council out of it from this perspective. It would be an event management that we budget at the start of every year. So if we have X amount of dollars for the parade, boom, part of it is the sport to school, whatever supplies they need, boom, we put it towards it, and then they can do their fundraising as part of it. So I can understand exactly where Councillors Thompson and Kluger are coming from. It's a challenging decision to make.
Monique, go ahead.
Thank you. I would just like to speak to a couple of those points. First, the reason that this was incorporated into the community support grant was that it would be something that was decided in public by council. These are public dollars that are being assigned. And so personally, I felt that that was important that you would be aware of that. When it comes to administration making those decisions, if you wish it to be incorporated into the event, it's one more responsibility that's added on to staff with regard to that particular event. What we're trying to do is empower these various groups to be able to operate on their own. Understanding that there is obviously a long history behind it, and I don't know how it was funded prior to my involvement within that sector, but that is why it's a council decision. For administration to make that decision, if we incorporate it into the event, then it would be allocated a certain amount. It may or may not go, but in this way, they hopefully are on their own to be able to make those decisions and operate on their own without depending on town staff.
I'll hear from Brendan first. He's new, and then we'll come to you.
Monique, how much did we do last year?
We've actually not funded this particular event in the past. What we
Yeah,
had
that's
done,
what's curious.
but where some of the confusion, maybe if I can straighten that out, is that we do provide an honorarium to the school
Mhm.
for the volunteers. So you may recall that 3 years ago, just post COVID, we started working with the leadership program directly. And with that, we were able to recruit a number of the high school student volunteers and actually junior high as well as their parents to be able to backfill some of the shortages that we had for the event. We require at least 50 volunteers.
Mhm.
That's just on the formerly Turner Valley side. And then with the parade, depending on the various aspects of where we require additional staffing or volunteers. So that entire event probably takes at least 75 to 80 volunteers. Or if we don't find volunteers, then we're having to hire vendors to be able to fill in those spots. So there was an honorarium that was provided to the school in the past to be able to afford that portion of it, but the pancake breakfast had been separate.
I'd make a motion for 500.
As a
Because it hasn't been done before.
Okay, we're gonna go Heather, then and then we'll have a motion.
Okay.
Yeah, my biggest thing is, we pay a lot of taxes for education, and then we're going to spend our residents' money again. And this has always been run by the school, by the grade 11 kids, always, as far as I know. Yeah, will agree. It was always done as a fundraiser for their grad, and I don't support it. So.
Thank you. Councillor Holly.
I really like the suggestion of doing things more in-house, like we're just talking about, NPC and speeding up planning decisions. And your staff time to prepare these reports and come in to council for, $500,000 decisions. I mean, if we can do planning in-house, we can definitely do these in-house by setting the right rules matrix. Originally it was supposed to be you had to rent, like if you rented the Flair or the arena or a town facility, that's what these things, we give you $500 back kind of thing. That's how it originally started. I think we need to make, because in the whole 6.5 years I've been on council, I can remember one that we've said no to. So we're rubber stamping. I think it was because it was going to a raffle, some gambling thing. That's the only one I can think of in my memory that we've actually set out right now to. We've adjusted some amounts here and there. But I don't want to waste expensive staff time bringing $500 decisions to council. If we're streamlining, looking for red tape reduction, streamlining things, I think we need to like make some decisions once and for all. Like a cow discussion on this, but to me, my key was always you were renting a facility from us to do a public event. That to me was the most important thing. Right? And it was open for anyone to come.
I'll go to Adam. Sure.
Thanks, your worship. Just inform council too, as part of that, kind of looking for efficiencies, we're looking at some new policies that'll look at specifically sponsorship and support, which may streamline some of this, but again, on the flip side too is because we're trying to empower volunteer groups to take these on themselves, so we're not paying city staff overtime to do that. That's your downside as well. So definitely perhaps the future, we do the whole report.
Yeah, I think you have some good points there. Very few get denied. So I think we create that document. And then it still has to come into our agenda, but maybe it comes as correspondence or an update on where the allocated funds that at budget time, if we say it's $40,000 going to community support, then we see that coming on as financial. You had 40, you now have 35. Here's where the 5 went. And there's some letters that we can sign and send, hey, have a great time, enjoy it. Anyway, I think it is going to be a great committee, the whole topic to kind of really streamline it and create some efficiency for sure and save some time. Okay, so Hazel.
Yeah, my understanding that FCSS is no longer supporting any of the school applications that are coming forward.
Not as they used to.
If I may through the chair,
Yes, please.
certainly it's under scrutiny, but I wouldn't say that that's a blanket policy to my knowledge. I think in the last round of decisions, they were denied, but that's not to say that it doesn't have a history of having supported various programs that were not supported directly through, for example, FSD dollars. So they were very specific about that. In this particular case, this would not be eligible for FCSS funding.
Excellent. I will take motion. Hazel. Go ahead.
I will give you the motion, but I would like to do a friendly amendment. That council approve the Oilfields High School Community Support Fund grant application request in support of the food program in the amount of $500. Because this isn't, I don't think we start setting a precedent. We've only given everybody else $500. And I think all of a sudden now going up to $1,000 is too big of a jump. And other groups have come and we said $500. And just one more point, I thought we had a discussion that we would see all these community support grants. There were certain intake dates and then they would all come to council.
Change that.
When was that?
Yeah, 2 months back, we changed it, so it wasn't changed.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we talked about the reduction down to 5 several times, even though we originally asked to up it, so we could do some greater good. Then we got bombarded by 3,000. So exactly.
Twice to reduce it.
So I love the motion and we have a motion on the floor. Any further debate? Great comments? All in favor? And all opposed? And the motion is carried. Thank you. And that one is done. Next up, we have Oilfield High School Senior Boys and Senior Girls Team Provincials. Nick, go to you again.
Made for the chair and to the CEO. Again, along the same vein, if you will, in terms of the Oilfields High School. This was in support or requesting financial support for the travel expenses that were related to the recent provincial basketball championships. And from that, this is, I think, the first time that they've actually achieved that level of success and for the competition. And it had been presented by their athletic director as a possibility, requesting funding to be able to assist in offsetting some of the registration fees. So I presented to you for consideration.
And you'll notice my lovely sweatshirt here, which speaks volumes to that said tournament. Just for clarity, each of these teams, and the reason I know this is because I went and I was working with fundraising for this. Each team had raised $4,500 in 7 days, each. 7 days, $4,500 each, so $9,000. FSD gave zero, just to be clear. I asked the superintendent, and I will be following up with the trustees around what their policy. And I asked specifically of what their policy was for funding a high school that had a gold medal junior team for zones, a gold medal senior girl team for zones, a gold medal senior boys team for zones, and we had bronze junior boys for league. So we had the most winning school for basketball in Foothills School Division for their age groups and for 2A. And we have two teams that went to provincials, Edmonton and Lethbridge, taxed with raising $9,000. And the Foothills School Division gave zero. Now, I'm saying that because it needs to be known by the people on the street and parents that you have more money coming out of your pocket going directly to school fees and so on, because something is missing. And accountability, as Councillor Thompson just suggested, needs to start happening. And playgrounds is another one that's going to be coming up. We're going to see that request, and that debate is going to be, it's going to be real. So this one here is the $1,000 ask is $500 for each team, and that's for registrations. So there you go. Anyway, I just wanted to clarify for the 1,000. Councillor Thompson.
Again, I'm gonna go there I absolutely support our school kids and sports, and we all know that. And I would agree with Cindy, like, I don't have a problem supporting provincial games, championships and everything that are being held in our school and bringing people into our community. I don't have a problem with that. This I do. This is going out of our community. The kids have done a great job fundraising. They've done that. I agree totally. The Foothills School Division needs to step up for some of this stuff because it just looks bad on them that we pay all these taxes and then we're spending taxpayer money again on things like this. Now, if there was a benefit being that we're hosting the provincial playoffs and they're coming to our school to play, then I'm aces with that. I'm absolutely aces with that. So there's my comments on this again.
Cindy?
Yeah, we did support, I believe, last year, or 2 years, whenever it came, when they hosted provincials for basketball.
In the school.
In the school. So I think that really just, that's what we need for this matrix. To just approve these easily and not.
We've got to set the brand.
Yeah.
And be consistent.
Yeah. And there will be actually handball provincials will be hosted by Oil Fields this year. So Lee's actually, the director of athletics is fundraising for that as well. Did we approve that one? $750?
Oh.
No, we didn't.
We're
For handball?
Yeah.
Oh, so we did?
Early in the year.
He was at Lions last night. There you go.
That's right.
Yeah.
Posted in our town
Yeah.
and I think at the school or in renting one of our buildings. I don't know. We've got to talk about it.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
But this isn't supporting anything going on. It would be nice to do.
that's what this is, the community support grant.
Yes, that's supporting the students who were good enough to make it to gold and represent our community on a provincial scale. Much like the policy that Turner Valley used to have that supported any team that took our name essentially and publicized it through provincial sport, national sport, or international sport, like the curling club.
Those were events that were held at the curling club.
No, those were held. They went to Sweden with
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Turner Valley.
Right, yeah.
So that's where this.
I don't think that was
this
a
comes
community support grant that we did for that one.
Yes.
I don't believe it was.
Nick, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you for the chair. So it was a community support grant. If you recall, it was something where, if you look at the criteria, it was something where it was benefiting the community. So there's criteria in there where it could be individuals or a team, but that it would essentially bring positive relations or public relations exposure to the community. And at that particular time, it was requested as a donation. And this is also how this is developed, is that we were getting so many requests that were just coming
Yeah.
straight to council that we felt as administration, it was important to have a process. And that's how this evolved. There was corporate support, if you recall that, as a separate one for Turner Valley. And that was identifying, for example, when there were requests to participate in a golf tournament.
Yeah.
You know, who would participate? What was the community benefit? Who should be attending? How much was it? And what were we paying for? And that was a public record. So it wasn't just where, you know, council was without thought, maybe participating in something that may not bring great light or positive publicity to the community. Most of the charity events are, of course, all of them are for very good causes, but it was something where it became a council decision as opposed to something that was just administratively directed. And with these types of things, they can be endless, absolutely. We tried to tighten them up so that the criteria would be listed so that there was perceived or real community benefit and an opportunity, not necessarily economic benefit. And that it would support a group beyond where it could help offset some of the costs was the idea, whether it was facility rental or travel expenses, they became almost comparable. So I understand that. And also please understand that with administration, we're asked to make a recommendation based on the information that we receive. We try to guide some of these people through because they're not experienced at grant writing. We don't always get all the information that's required, but from gleaning some of the information, as we do talk to them, then you understand a little bit more about some of the pressures and the challenges that they have to be able to raise this money, and especially on short notice. So for example, the tournament, the provincials that they attended, they didn't find out until they won that regional championship, that now they had to raise that kind of money. Does it change the story or your decision? Likely not, but it is something where it becomes broader when they belong to a larger organization such as Foothills School Division, and they're not supported. So they are just looking for any kind of fundraising that they can. I hope that provides a little bit more explanation to it.
Thank you.
Just
go
one
ahead.
more comment, if I could. My big thing is taxes upon taxes. That's my big thing. So the Foothill School Division, like you said, Barry, they need to be, you know, they need to be stepping up. They need to be stepping up because, you know, our residents pay a lot of school taxes. And they're paying school fees now, and they're paying for this, and they're paying for that, and then they're paying for that. And now they're paying for this through taxes. That's my big thing. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Well, yeah, final comment on that. My daughter goes to school and we send a few $100s worth of supplies to the school at the beginning of the year too. I mean, so I
Yeah.
pay taxes, there's other fees, and then I'm spending $200-300 for everything from Kleenex to binders to pencils, plastine for every kid in the class. And the list goes on. So and I believe that this falls on FST first and foremost.
Okay. All right. 500.
Let it go to a vote because.
All right. Council approve Oilfield High School Community Support Grant application request and support for senior boys, senior girls for the amount of $500. Any further comments, concerns, questions? Lead by example. That's what I say. If FSD needs an example, I'd like us to be it. All in favor? All opposed? All right. And moving on, we have. Letter and that's shape board. Miss Hazel. Would you like to pop that one up for us?
Yes, Sam was a really very valuable member to our library board. and she has had to resign because of her work commitments. So I would just like to ask that council accept the resignation of Shay Ford from the Town of Diamond Valley Library Board and request that administration send a letter of thanks for her service to the board.
Thank you. All in favor? And that is carried. And I think that's it. Inquiries, none. Well, do we have any inquiries? No.
Administrative
Responses?
They would be there. She just.
No.
Why are you?
I'm trying to stretch it out now. Any more correspondence? Notice the motion and no close. So I guess the last one is we are adjourned. Thank you.